What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another Bodyslam.net exclusive interview. It's me, Cassidy Haynes, owner of Bodyslam.net, and I'm here with my good friend AKIRA. He's over in Japan right now. He joined us here. He's doing our first interview here for the Bodyslam Patreon that we launched this week. You guys should check that out. If you're not subscribed yet, that means you didn't get to see it first. And you can go to Patreon, search for Bodyslam.net, but it's Bodyslam PWN on Patreon. So give us a search there. Subscribe to us. You'll get this stuff early. But if not, you can find it on the web or the YouTube channel about a week later. But anyway, AKIRA, buddy, it's good to see you, man. It's been a minute since we've actually been eye to eye talking. But
been like 6 months.
if not more, I think it's been,
Yeah.
we were riding around somewhere. I don't remember where we were.
I don't.
But it's been a minute.
It was.
We were getting some pizza somewhere, I think. I don't remember.
I think it was in New York.
It was in New York or Chicago, maybe. I don't remember. So,
Yeah.
anyway, it's good to see you, man. So it's been a busy week for you. You've been in the news a little bit, unfortunately, but let's talk about that. We'll dive into it.
Fortunately, it depends on how you look at it. Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a silver lining. That's like what we were talking about earlier. But for those that aren't aware, your MLW contract recently expired, and you've been there since like 2023, correct?
Well, 2023, that began in January of 2023. Did a whole 2 years, and I just re-upped my contract. It was like at the end of 2024, but things happened, and I came to Japan because I knew that's where I needed to be for myself. And then it wasn't so much as it expired; it was more just a mutual agreement / release. Just I came to Japan, had personal issues that made me not. I was going to hop back and forth between Japan and MLW because I really wanted to be there. But then there was a certain like string of dates that I was not told about until very late in the game, and I was like, I'm in Japan. I can't get the things that I need to get to this place for this week, and I'm already advertised for a string of shows. So I was like, I feasibly can't. And then with some personal stuff that happened, I was like, I also really mentally, I cannot handle doing all that. And so that kind of like I guess you could say it's the nail in the coffin, but it was like any plan that they had for me were kind of just gone, which I think it's a two-way street of fault there in its own way. But it's also pro wrestling, just things happen, I do playing just any blame. And then I was just told just to focus on Japan, work on my mental, work on all that stuff. And then it came to having a conversation, and it was just like, we really don't have any spot for you right now. And I was like, well, I don't want to wait. So we decided to part ways. I gave a lot creatively, and I have so much more creatively, professionally, and wrestling wise to give. And if I'm not that high on the totem pole where it's like, oh, he's ready to be back, but still nothing thing. I'm like, I'll move on. It's fine. Not a big deal. They're moving towards a new, I guess, vision for the company. So you see the people that they're bringing in. That's the focus. That's what they're going to do, by all means. But I know that I really helped make people care about MLW, especially from 2023 to 2024. Whether it was my match with Kenta, Suzuki, Rocky Romero, like I was generally a focal point, or even if I wasn't supposed to be a focal point, people would still be talking about the things I did on the shows. So I know for a fact that I have something good to give, not just to myself, but to pro wrestling and to different companies. I'm not a cog in the wheel. I don't want to be a cog in the wheel. I want to help creatively. I want to help myself. I want to help others. And I also know that my brain, I guess, works differently than a lot of people in pro wrestling because I guess everyone I talk to always says I sound like an old man because I like older aspects of wrestling. I like when things make sense. I don't like just doing things just to do things. Working with Raven really helps exacerbate that mentality as well.
I was going to ask about that. I was going to get you to talk about how it was to work under Raven because, that's I mean,
Dude,
he's
it
such
was
a brilliant wrestling mind. He's been around and had such a interesting career until he
it,
finally like found his niche and his character that really, carried him through the rest of his career and still to this day.
it's interesting. It's interesting because I messaged him yesterday. He gave me his number, and I'll text him here and there with like happy birthday or when he had his knee surgeries. Or his hip surgery. I texted him, dude, hope you're well. He told me that he knows that I'll move on to bigger, better things. But it was so I came to the MLW just as like the indie deathmatch guy, the indie darling kind of deal, and I came in. I never really had to cut promos. You see my work. Genuinely, I never really had to do a promo. Um, Promos, ring look, psychology, just little things like little tweaks to character presence and stage presence that I really didn't think about. But when I was paired with Ricky Champagne and Raven, those two really took me under the wing. And it was very much a sink or swim. I know for a fact Ricky was given the assignment of make sure Akira develops to where we need him to develop. You know, um, trial by fire. But really, Ricky and Raven helped cultivate the person that I am now just because they were hard on my promos. They were hard on my in-ring stuff. Little things, little aspects of selling, just all these aspects that really, like, you look at the metamorphosis from me from 2023 to now, again, I'm a completely different wrestler. There's people that still think I'm the kid from 2020, 2021, and they'll use pictures of me like this, like, oh, this is that guy. And I'm like, dude, that's a whole baby. Pro wrestling, you age so much more rapidly if you let it. Uh, and just looking at me from 2020 to now was a completely different human being. I'm also, God, probably 40 pounds heavier than I was in 2020 when I first had my breakout. I'm about 205 pounds now, 210 pounds now. Uh, so much more on the heavyweight side. And really, Raven and Ricky kicked my ass when it came to promos. Because now I'll cut a promo, everyone goes like, since when could you cut a promo like that? And I was like, I always could. You guys never gave me the opportunity, but Ricky and Raven really uh, put the focus on, really changed my, not just my look, but like my vernacular, my way of thinking and speaking.
Yeah, I mean, both of those guys are really, really good promo guys. I mean, that's one of the things they've
Yes.
been known for. The ring work's also really good, but like
Mhm.
those two guys are guys that you really, really expect to cut a good promo every time you give them a mic. So yeah, you can't be learned under that tree, So, and I mean, you worked with a bunch of really good people while you're at MLW, in
Yes.
that group as well, besides those two. So
Mhm.
that was an interesting group. I was really interested in MLW during that. I mean, honestly, not just because we're friends, but
Yeah.
it was very interesting in a different group, a collection of people, and it was
Yeah.
like
It
to
wasn't
watch
the
it.
regular it wasn't the regular
Yeah,
hodgepodge of people that everyone else was using, that everyone's using now. I think they're kind of falling into the independent wrestling super show territory at this point. Which again, if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. That's their prerogative. But I thought that MLW was really growing when they really focused on the up and coming talent. When it was like BRG, Alex Kane, myself, especially, because when you gave opportunities to guys like us, that was when people got interested because it wasn't just the regular people. You put us with like I got put with Rocky, and I got to really put on a match. That was the beginning of my entire babyface run, because the crowd was so against Rocky, and they were. I mean, it was the ECW arena. They were always behind
yeah,
me no matter what. Like that's East Coast is like my place,
right.
but they, especially in the ECW arena, they really they I came back after that match and everyone said, "Well, you're babyface now," and I was like, I mean, I told you guys that when I first got there, that when they brought me into the heel, I was like, it's not gonna last long. I
Yeah,
was like, you think they're gonna do me? I was like, I can do whatever you want, you can pair me with whoever you want, but the crowd will always try to cheer for me. I've played a heel like, not including MLW, like 5 times over my career, and one time I did a heel turn, and then everyone hated me. But then the next show, they were just back to loving me, and everyone was like, "What is the point of this?"
Right.
So when it was like 2 months into my MLW run, and they were like, "Okay, we're gonna start training you babyface," I was like, I prefaced like it's not gonna work very well. I've never really been organically booed, uh, so. But again, they gave me guys like Rocky Romero. I got to wrestle one of my heroes, Minoru Suzuki. I got to wrestle one other one of my heroes at Penta, and like those guys have become, kind of my friends, which is a crazy thing for a kid from Indiana to think about. Um,
For anybody,
nonetheless,
not just
no,
from Indiana, but like those,
yeah, but like a
yeah,
kid from BFE, Indiana,
right. I
who
mean, hey, I
was
get it
on the
because I'm
top,
from middle of
yeah,
nowhere, North Carolina. So yeah,
yeah, it's just a thing. You're like, wow, like this is very, very wild and interesting. Uh, like I wrestled those guys, I got to work with Sammy Callahan when he was there, and I got to do some really interesting stories, all things considered, and I got to really prove that not just in a ring I can work, but like in promos and dramatic circumstances, I can really turn it on and make people care. And I think that everyone's so focused on the athleticism. That's one thing I really love about wrestling is uh, not obviously it's the sports like nature of it, but like people who can really make people care. And there's not too many pro wrestlers I feel like in this day and age, at least from my generation, from uh, people who look like me, that can make people laugh, cry, or get sympathy like that. There's not many Ricky Mortons nowadays. And it's more, oh, you're a person who does cool moves, so I'll cheer for you, not, oh, I'm actually invested in what you're doing, you know.
yeah. No, you nailed it. Ricky Morton is. I mean, I trained with him back in the
Yeah.
day. That's who I rode the road with. So like, man, Ricky Morton stories. You can go on and on. So with MLW in that locker room, who was like the prankster of the river? Did you have any good stories from like people fucking with people in the locker room? Because like,
Uh,
like I said, riding around with Ricky and everybody, I got to hear lots of stuff. So I'm sure you had some good ones with those guys out there.
I mean, I was always the guy who would tease people and do that kind of stuff. So I was very much like the lighthearted guy in the locker room.
Well,
I
what did you do then? What was some of your best ones? What was some of your best ribs and
it
pranks?
wasn't really pranks. I would just like do little things, mess with people, I can't really remember exactly. I've been hitting the head a lot since then, but I really got along great with Mystico actually. But let's bring Mystico in. Like Mystico and I mean, Coda helped because Mystico loves Coda.
Oh yeah.
But Mystico and I would always hit it off. We'd always laugh when we see each other, smile. We'd give each other shit. He'd be asleep. I'd shake him awake. He'd go, oh, um, he's always sleeping. Uh, and,
Sleepy Mystico.
oh, another one was when we were in Mexico for the Grand Prix, and it was like we were doing the preliminary one, so it was like 2 days before the actual Grand Prix, and so we're all outside fighting, and uh, Mystico comes over to me, and I can see Mystico has like this crazy look in his eyes, and I was like, oh, okay, here we go, and the first thing this dude does to me, he gives me a shoot headbutt. And and I just looked at him. I could see the smile in his eyes. And I was like, "This motherfucker!" And so we start shoot headbutting each other. And then eventually, I headbutt him good. He does the comics fall to the ground, and I start doing the Terry Funk, like I'm selling like this, and he had his legs just spread open. And I'm doing the Terry Funk sell. I just saw around, like, fall backwards. I basically do like a 10 move back elbow drop onto his dick. And
Oh, nice.
I could hear him go, oh, and we just started laughing because he was like, you motherfucker. And I was like, you motherfucker, you headbutted me.
Right.
If Mystico was not the Hulk Hogan, John Cena of Lucha Libre, he'd be a deathmatch wrestler. He's crazy, and I love him. Every time he'd
Really?
see me, every time he'd see me, I mean, he's crazy. He's a good crazy dude. Uh, but every time he'd see me, we'd smile. He'd be like my friend. We hug. Um, I miss seeing him. And I guess that was the hard thing about being in Japan was uh, seeing the MLW shows and uh, not being there, considering I'd major part of this. You know, even if I was like in a tag match or just some other, I always felt like I was a big part because people in general talk about me. I know I'm not Kojima or any of these guys, but people, you know, I always did something that made people talk about the shows. People always, I never got bad reviews about my performances at MLW. Another thing that it was hard was I think despite our on-screen rivalry at this point, now that it's all said and done, Akira Kwan and I, we really kind of in it together, whether we were in Mexico or whether we were at MLW shows. You know, we had two matches that were, I think, very different. We had our first match of the Opera Cup, which was like it was done in 6 minutes, but it was a sprint and it was different. And I was told that by Fort and by Kwan too. You know, I'm not throwing one of the bus and saying this, but they basically told me that I helped elevate them twice, and it was very nice to hear that I had the capability to help do that. And I structured both of the matches because the first one was the regular like Opera Cup match, and then there was the Taipei match, which Kwan had never done before, uh, and he never bled before any of that kind of stuff. But after both those matches, especially after the Taipei, uh, we got a standing ovation. We got to the back. JBL pulled us both aside and said, he was like, "Oh," because he was watching some of the other matches. He's like, I don't, and he was like, I don't really understand this stuff. But he watched Juan and I, and he said, he's like, I love that. Like, that's my kind of pro wrestling, and which is very cool coming from JBL. I just
Yeah.
wasn't expecting it. And the best part was he said that, and I guess I smiled. I turned and looked over, and Minoru Suzuki was standing there, his arms were crossed. And he was looking at me because he said that dude always gives me shit. He's basically like uh, the uncle that I never wanted. And but he looked at me, and he just nodded his head like, "Good job," and I was like, "Yay!"
That's the best praise. Two fantastic people to praise your work, man.
Yes.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I really helped elevate Quan, and you know, the fact that Quan, I was talking to him, and he said, "You really helped change how my brain processes matches and how its structure is." Because the first match we had was because it was 7 minutes. It was really just like 6 minutes. It was short, and they were like, "Go out there and have an epic match." And we're like, "In 6 minutes, okay." Like, and he was worried, and I just said, "Look, it's all about what we do in that 6 minutes." So I'm like, it's not going to be a slow paced match. We got to up the ante and keep it going. It's got to be pretty back and forth. And one of my favorite matches that Simon Gotch introduced me to years ago was Shinjiro Otani versus Nokizuki from Super J Cup. And as soon as I saw 6 minutes bell to bell, it dinged in my head. I said, "We're doing this. Watch this match." He watched it. I said, it's not going to be the same because we have to extend it out, but we got to do this kind of back and forth action pace stuff. And we did it. And then we got to go back and people applauded that. And then we did the Taipei, and that was my favorite because one, we watched that match on YouTube. Like the crowd was horrified from most, especially once the glass started flying, people were kind of horrified. But then when I pulled the fork out of my knee pad, and I started stabbing him for real, everyone freaked the fuck out. You could hear people screaming.
You can see the reaction. Yeah, I was watching that.
I loved it so much. It's always so funny because I don't really give much to cage match anymore because it just makes me laugh. But there were people that said that match is the worst match ever because you have glass in your hands. Why do you punch each other the whole time? And I was like, because we're mixed martial artists. If you know someone's just gonna punch you. Like if I see Ian Rotten and his fat ass hobbling towards me with glass on his fist, he's probably gonna punch me. But if you're a mixed martial artist, I have to worry about his legs, I have to worry about his wrestling, I have to worry about his fists, and all these other things. The thing with Taipei is when you punch someone with the glass on, the glass flies off. It's limited ammunition. People don't really think about that. They just think it's on there forever. It's like no. Like I punch you once, some of that's flying off. So it's
Yeah,
gonna
you
be less
gotta
effective.
make it count. Yeah.
It's less effective the next time. So when we did throw punches, it was when we had clear open shots. Like, people think they understand pro wrestling, they think they understand the game. It's like, oh, they don't understand shit. Like another criticism I saw was, why would you bring a fork into a death match? And I was like, why would I bring a fork into a death match against someone I fucking hate?
It,
Why wouldn't I?
it's a death match.
It's my game.
Yeah,
I was
why
like, oh,
wouldn't you?
guess what? I slipped in an extra weapon because I hate this person. Again, people say this stuff, and I'm like, you don't really understand what it's like to hate somebody. Like, I think a lot of pro wrestlers now really don't understand what it's like to fucking hate somebody. Like, I had no qualms about if I was in a heated argument with someone or someone I hate, pulling out something and hitting with it. I don't fucking care. But again, we get paid extra for that match because we get the match of the night bonus, all of that good stuff. But Juan still tells me he's like that those were the two matches that he felt really helped establish who he was, and that's what I'm happy for. So if anything, right now, I have cool little history there with the belt, whatever, in the storyline. So right now, Juan being there and being in the position that he's in is being partial to me and not being partial to his work. That says volumes for me. I'm happy for that. He's kind of like my last testament right now.
Yeah. Well, that's what's up, man. Now that was I like I said, I enjoyed your run and all your work there, and I think a lot of people did. And like you said, I never really heard much negative stuff. And if you did, it was
Yeah,
stuff like you just pointed out, where it's like, what
obscure.
kind of criticism is that?
It's obscure criticism from people on a
Yeah,
website that that's why I generally stop reading them, just because I'll check it just to see match times or things like that. So I'm like, how long was this match that I had or whatever?
yeah,
But like, or to remember what exactly what tournament I was in at this point in time. But in terms of general reviews, I don't really care about reviews so much anymore. Like, I don't care about the Meltzer 5 stars. I care about what the crowd thinks, what the crowd reacts to.
I mean,
And
if you got them right here, that's all that matters, brother. You get them right
yeah,
there in
man,
your hand.
like people would just tell me that this match was bad, and I was like, but the audience was freaking the fuck out over it. So how was it bad? I'm like, the audience is what matters at the end of the day, and if you're parading them, uh, because we're the puppet masters, like, we're not the puppets. We don't react to what they want. Uh, we don't react because they want something. We make them want something. That's the whole point of pro wrestling.
Right. Now, yeah, like I mean, I've been in plenty of arenas and been like, "Oh, this was awesome." And I go look online, I'm like, "Nobody liked this. Like, how did people not like this?" I was like, "So you just got to be there, man. Sometimes, and, you just can't worry
It's a very
about."
particular
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. I mean,
I,
you
I
being there, if you got, you said, if you got them right here, if they're all reacting and you all got them,
it, it, I also realize it's a different thing too, because I think a lot of people in the West think they understand storylines or these little things, but when you come to Japan, like, I'll do these little things, these little nuances in my match that uh, people in the West won't understand, but here the Japanese recognize little aspects of my character. A lot of people um, from BGW fans are saying I became very, Muda-esque, which was intentional, like Muda Marufuji style, where a lot of the movements I have are intentional, but it's not. I'm trying to teach you a whole bunch of stuff. I'm trying to break you down piece by piece with attacking the legs. That's one thing I love about Muda is he do the low drop kicks to the legs, and he come up like a predator and he'll look like, okay, what's next? How am I going to attack you next? Like, they're actual counter. Marufuji is one of the best counter wrestlers I think ever. A lot of the stuff he does is a reaction or a counter, not like, oh, I'm reversing, but it's just like cute, interesting way to counterbalance or counteract another person's action. You know, Nakamura was like that too. He was doing King of Strong style stuff in New Japan. He was a great. He didn't do a whole bunch of crazy shit, but everything he did was powerful and impactful. Like the in the Wrestle Kingdom match against AJ Styles, when he hits that first fulminator to the back of the head, and at that last second, I'm like, that's what I love. I don't want to just I can't do a whole bunch of, like 1,000 moves. but I can fight with the best of them. I'm not a Zack Sabre Jr. technical wrestler, but I'm a shoot style technical wrestler. You know, so when I do stuff, it's gonna look rough, it's gonna look ugly, but you're gonna believe that what I'm doing is real. And that's what I want to do. Because I think too many people model themselves after people that are already at the top of their game today, and it all looks the same. They all sound the same. I listen to a lot of promos, and I don't believe anybody's promos. And that's the one thing that Raven really pressed into my head was you got to make them believe in the ring and when you're talking. So you can't do either. What the fuck are you doing here?
You see it a lot. So
the whole point is getting people to believe in what you're doing. Like that's the end all be all. That's why Eddie Kingston is so great.
And that's how they connect with you, because they believe
Yes.
you make that connection because they believe, like, oh, this guy, they believe you. They believe what you're doing matters, and it's just a different. You can see it, you know. So
if you get them to believe in what you're saying, in a promo. So when it comes to the ring and stuff in the match, you don't have to kill yourself.
It carries over.
Doing 1,000. Yeah, you don't have to kill yourself for doing 1,000 things, but you can kill yourself in a smarter way for the message of the match. You know, a lot of people think I got to do 1,000 goddamn things for this match to get over, and it's like sometimes the promo is the setup, and then the match can be completely different than I think a lot of people follow like a formula, you know, counter, standoff, and I've been watching a lot of older wrestling, what even like older Japanese wrestling, like Kenny stuff like that, and Shinya Hashimoto too. Like just a lot of these guys then wrestled. It was a very different type of aura and experience. You know, it wasn't like uh, what we see now. Like each match, it was just felt more organic. It felt more raw. You know, it really that's the kind of stuff that I really love doing.
That, I mean, 1990, 91 is when I first like experienced New Japan and like that different style. I was like, oh, this is completely different than what I'm used to seeing, and I fucking fell in love with it and just couldn't get enough of it.
I just love seeing Tenryu punch people, man. Like Tenryu punch people, kick people in the head. Like I want to go to places like, I don't know if TNA would really have anymore because of blood and whatnot. And I'm like, I don't need to bleed. I don't. But like I think blood in pro wrestling is a necessity.
It
but
is.
Like if it was,
I agree
like NWA, if it was like NWA, if I could do Ring of Honor or AEW, you know, like if I could get into working regularly with them, then obviously that's the goal. I would want to have matches like Smojo, Necro Butcher. I don't want to do. I miss my dogs.
I know, right? I miss your dog, dude. I love your dog, man. I love that little guy.
He is having fun with my parents right now, but that's another thing too. Is I want to get if I can get in with, you know, Ring of Honor, AEW. Not only could I go out there and have Smojo, Necro Butcher style matches, which again would be completely different than what we see now with what's on there, but also I can just bring my dog everywhere and I can give him and myself a better life. That's right now. That's the only goal that I can have right now, is try to make sure we have a good life.
Your dog's a star, brother. Like that dog. I told you that it was the craziest thing. So I was at WrestleCade last year or the year before, and my buddy's walking around and he keeps hearing this like clicking, like a noise. He's like, "What the fuck is that?" And he looks on his foot, and on the bottom of his shoe is a pin. You know, like somebody's lost a pin, and he pulls it off, and it's fucking Coda and you. And he's like, "Wait a minute!" And I was like, "Holy shit, dude!" And it was just insane to me. That's like it stuck to his foot. He like took it and put it with his stuff. But yeah, he got a little pin, a little like that day. It was your dog. That's how I knew it was you right away. I was like, I know exactly who this is. I saw the dog. It was you. But yeah,
he's not even here.
Yeah, he's a fucking star. I was like, his merch is here. He's not. But yeah, it was awesome. But no, so I was going to ask. So that's the goal, though. I guess so now that you're done with your MLW's in the rear view mirror, and so next for you, I mean, you've got Japan now. I guess that's going to keep doing your stuff there when you can. But is that what you want? You want TNA, AEW, Ring of Honor? Is that where you're NWA? You're hoping to find something in the States, I assume.
Yeah, I would like to transition sooner rather than later. I I'm in the best shape of my life right now. First off,
Yeah.
let's be perfectly clear. Like, and it's only going to get better. And if I can transition to whether it is MBWay, because I know they now have an actual kind of like a TV deal with the Roku stuff, which good for them, great. Which it would be a regular avenue for work for me, so that doesn't bother me too much. I'm not really particular about where. I just know that wherever I want to go, I want to dedicate to myself fully, and I would like, you know, that to be my job is to focus on that. But Ring of Honor, AEW, even if it's go to Ring of Honor, you know, improve myself even more, but like prove myself and get established. I'm down to do that. If AEW want to bring me to do something, whether it's small and then I build up to it, again, that's fine because no matter where you put me, I'm gonna bust my ass to make sure that it works, and I will get over with it. Like I think charisma is the key to it all at the end of the day, and I have tons of that. I can do whatever with that. But if I can go on to Ring of Honor and be a standout, not just because I'm not gonna go out there and wrestle like everyone else. I'm gonna fight. I want to fight. I want to bleed, and I want to dedicate myself fully to that place where I'm. So if I could bring that kind of rough and tough nature back to Ring of Honor, I would love to do that. I know they're doing Death Before Dishonor at the ECW Arena. I have the oldest deathmatch belt in the world. I think he needs some death before the dishonor.
I mean,
And,
that'd
and,
be
on,
nice.
and it'd be nice. And it's also a place where I'm known. I can go to the East Arena, all the staff knows me, all the fans would know me. And I would love to establish myself there. Like something in my head is calling me to that show, that name. And it's calling me to that Ring of Honor style. I want to do the hard hitting fighting style that I loved Ring of Honor for back in 2008 when it was being ran by Kenta and all those guys. Like that's the dream for me right now is to go there. Would I love to go to AEW? Sure, but I'll take Ring of Honor because I don't view it as a step down. I view it as its own different format,
Yeah.
and I'd be happy either way. I want to work. I want to dedicate myself fully. I'm not here to complain. I want to put my teeth to the grindstone and grind that motherfucker. I grind it out, and just I'll all I'm going to do is going to get better at this point. I'm in the prime of my youth. I'm 31. Again, in the best shape of my life. My in-ring work has changed dramatically. I would say I'm doing things I've never really done before. I'm still doing it in a different way than what everyone else is doing, and I know that I'll stand out verbally, physically, look-wise. I'll stand out, and I think I'm an asset to a company. And I think I could be an asset to Ring of Honor or to AEW.
Yeah, and I think I agree with you there. I think that would be a very good. It would be something the company. You'd be different. You'd be something different for Ring of Honor because you kind of got a lot of the same style and types of wrestlers. So it'd be something. We got run-ins by Foley here. I apologize.
Oh no, it's fine.
Yeah,
it's I'm one of the I am the there's Cactus Jack in was it '94 Kawasaki Dream was King of the Deathmatch in Japan. I am the only other King of the Deathmatch from Japan, other than Cactus Jack. I look like I wouldn't say the Japanese sort. I look like the biracial kid that I am, but I look like I belong on TV. But I fight like guys like Mox with like Kingston. Like I can interchange and mix well with any kind of fighter. Just let me do it. But let me go out there, let me fight, let me bleed, let me do things that make me different. I don't need to bleed every single show. I don't want to bleed every single show. But let me go out there and pull on wars of people in different ways.
yeah, that would. Hey man, I'm all about it, man. Like, hey, you got to put it out in the universe. Maybe something will come from it. You can't you got to will it into existence or whatever Lethal Weapon was. But no, man. Oh no, sorry. I was going to say like you mentioned earlier, being a small kid, like from a small town in Indiana, man. You've just what we've talked about in the last 35 minutes, dude, you've done a lot of awesome shit. You've been
Yeah.
a lot of places and worked with a lot of crazy people. And that's just, and we haven't even talked really about what you've done in Japan. You know what I mean? We just talked about MLW. So let's kind of pivot to that. Tell everybody a little bit about your, because I remember one time I think it was you and I were talking, I think it was like after your first real like extended stint over there. And you were telling me about like just how different like people view wrestling and the treatment and just like, just the culture difference. So like, let's just tell me a little bit about that and tell people that might not know, about Japanese wrestling a little bit more about it.
It's interesting. So I went out with Seozawa, and we were doing some photo shoot stuff. I was doing it like how Brody and Hanson did the kimono samurai sword thing, but I was doing it in Asakusa, where we rented a kimono. And I was doing it in front of the temple with the belt. And for example, if you tell someone randomly in the United States, "Oh, hey, what are you doing with that belt?" They would say, and you say, "Oh, he's a pro wrestler," they'd go, "That's kind of lame," or they wouldn't care. They'd be indifferent towards it. I was at this restaurant with Stay, and we're talking, and these old ladies asked Stay, well, what I was doing here, because a lot of people think a lot of people talk in Japanese. I don't understand, most of it, but generally people think I'm either here or I'm mixed in some way.
Yeah.
But these ladies knew. They're like, okay, he's not from here, because I was talking in English as well. And he told them, oh, he's a pro wrestler, he's a champion. He's a champion for Big Japan Pro Wrestling. And these ladies were like, oh, they said, can we please take photos with you? And we sat there and we took photos for like 10 minutes. These ladies were so excited. And they were just some random ladies in the middle of Asakusa in Tokyo, Japan. And I just realized the culture change is so different. Even Say said it, where the Japanese fans treat pro wrestling the same, generally, as MMA or any kind of sport. He's like, people feel that you're a pro wrestler and they're happy and they're enamored because you're someone who's putting the body on the line for their entertainment. And that's the face value. And they look at things differently. They look at things analytically and much more almost like a literary review where they're reading the subtext of the subtext, but they actually understand it. Like I'll do these little things in matches, and fans will tweet, and I'll read little reviews. And like it was even when I wrestled Isami Kodata, so the OG Deathmatch samurai, right? And people just noticed these little things. I said, like, man, Akira was a little bit more aggressive today. He was very much more controlling in the match. They were saying that about my presence, my charisma was very overpowering, where Isami's is very he's very traditional samurai.
Yeah,
so it was almost, they said it was, they said these little character attributes, and they litericize them more, where it's almost like it feels like you have these little book reviewers reviewing your own little book that you just presented to them.
It's almost like, oh, finally they get it. Somebody gets what I'm trying to convey too, without like having to go over the top to try to get that point across to the audience, which is how it seems like it is here in America.
I was talking to Speedball about this. I said I feel like I'm flourishing, and Speedball said, because you're in front of a fan base that understands the wide nature of pro wrestling. It's not just one thing; it's not just another thing. And and Speedball, like, you're finally given that avenue and that talent pool to work with, where all you're going to do now is grow, and that's all I've done. I feel like that's all I've done since I've been here, since I first got here in 2023. And even then, I would say the fans here are much more worldly about their pro wrestling than, because I mean, even in 2022, I debuted in Masashi Takeda. Never been to Japan before, right? And I did my debut. I walked the curtain, and people are clapping when I was seeing Fight Survivor. They're clapping, and they're into it. They knew who I was. There's some of them over there, they're just polite. It's a random person clapped, but they were chanting. They were into it. And then we had the match. And then afterwards, it was just Akira, Akira, And basically, that's how it's been ever since I come to Japan. Like, I get
That's awesome.
announced and people chant for my name. So when people ask me about like what's how what am I going to expect in Japan, I have to tell them like your experience does not be my experience. My experience was I feel like it's a once in a lifetime kind of thing. I have fans that bring me gifts at every single show. It's it was something I always dreamed about. And I'll go to pro wrestling Noah shows, and when I show up to the Noah shows, I'll get recognized by like 15 to 20 fans, and I'll see tweets. Oh, Akira was at pro wrestling Noah today. He must really love pro wrestling, and just feel like they'll wonder what I thought about matches or things like that. Some people ask, "Oh, do you think Marufuji is still great?" And I go, "Yes, Marufuji is still great."
No, he's over the hill. No, no that's awesome though.
He
To
is
be
not,
I
he
mean,
is not over the hill.
no. It's just great to be to be recognized. I'm sure it makes you
Mm-hmm.
feel great to be
It's
wow,
flattering. It's very
it is
flattering.
flattering. Yeah, dude, it happens sometimes for me, and I'm like, what? This is just crazy to be somebody like me that gets flattered, so to recognize, and so I couldn't imagine, how often it
I
happens
never,
for you.
I never want to get a big
There,
head. I've gotten to the point now where people told me I have to start owning the things that I've done. They're like, you're not,
yeah,
because I still think I'm just some random guy, and people go like, they're like, you're a name whether you like it or not. And I go, well, I don't get booked enough to feel like I'm a name. they're, but they're like, you're. People know who you are. We can get to any show anywhere, and you can bring up your name, and people will know who we're talking about. So they're like Kid Bandit was someone who was saying that, like Bob Martyr. I hate Bob Martyr, but like they'll say it. People will say people know who you are. So they're like you're doing good, and I'm only been wrestling for 7 years. So 7 years.
that's what I was gonna
Done
say. I thought
a lot
2018,
more.
right?
Yeah, I've done a lot in 7 years, and I feel like now is the time for me to really pull the trigger in terms of getting put in a position to do it. Uh, that was something about MLW is they planted me in their field, and I grew a bit, but now I get time to transplant the plant that I am and put it in another company and be given more opportunity to grow. Because I'm even done. Like I'll say this right now. You'll be the first one to really hear it. I'm going to say it out loud when eventually, because it'll happen when I lose the Big Japan title, whenever it does happen, whoever manages to pull that motherfucker from my chest, I'm done with last death matches. I'm done with doing death matches on the regular. I want to venture into being a pro wrestler, and if I go on to like Ring of Honor, AEW, and they want me to do like a death match, that's no problem.
Yeah,
But unless there's a monetary reason for it or a reason for it storyline wise, I want to stop being the glass guy. I've been done with it. I haven't done a whole lot of glass since I've been here in the past couple months, just because of the match I had at the Yokohama Budokan, where people said, "Okay, this is what death matches need to be. It's not glass, barbed wire, all that stuff needs to be important, because they hurt." Uh, but when I drop that deathmatch title, I'm done participating in death matches regularly.
wow. Yeah, that's I was about to get into your love for death matches, so that makes sense
Yeah,
though. To because I mean,
it's I don't want to be typecast. Some people
pigeonhole
said, "Well,
yourself.
you are now," and I was like, if I'm typecasted, I've had matches with Minoru Suzuki, Kenta, Speedball Mike Bailey, and in Bloodsport and at Prestige, where people were shocked by these matches. I was like, that then they're doing a shitty job of typecasting. I was like, I've proven that I can go in and out of the death match. I don't need it. Just give me an opponent who wants to bring it, and I'm down. I can do it. I I'm just bored and I'm tired of glass and death matches. It feels like in 2020 when death match was really, really, really hot. There was the death match where it was the elite pro wrestlers who did death matches. Guys like Eric Bryan, Alex Colon, RSP back doing them. But still RSP. Like all like it was a whole slew of killer's row of talent, and now it does not feel like that to me. And to me, creatively, I've got enough scars on my body from last death matches. It's not fun for me anymore, and I feel like I'm more jumpy when it comes to glass. And I don't want to be jumpy. I don't want to do something to the point where I hate it.
Yeah.
I've proven my worth in and out of the ring, and I'm going to continue proving my worth. And I have a bunch of cool scars already. They're not, those big ugly scars you see in a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's just more of an aesthetic thing. But like I want to do other things. I want to do barbed wire. Like if I want to do deathmatch and it's like barbed wire or other kinds of items that are different, it's one thing. But like in terms of glass, glass is done. They're not going to be making light tubes anymore. And honestly, a lot of people think they can just go some light tubes and that's how they're over. That's how they're good. I'm like, it's not.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to wrestle you. That's all you think this is. I love the art of pro wrestling this much, and that includes the art of the deathmatch. And it's art to it, just like there's an art to the pro wrestling. A lot of people are just coming in with these giant paintbrushes, which are light tubes, and they're doing the shittiest looking house you've ever seen since a kindergartner drew. Something a kindergartner could do. And they're like, this is art. And I'm like, no, it's not. Go fuck yourself. You're not a 4-year-old who I can tell, oh, that's good. Good for you. I want to encourage this. I'm like, you're a 33-year-old bestowing light tubes and saying it's pro wrestling. It's not. Fuck off. And it's not the deathmatch wrestling that I love. Fuck off.
Yeah. No, I agree with you there. And I will say this, like, hey, I kind of like, I hate to see you go, but I'm going to feel better about it because it terrifies me watching people I know and my friends do death matches. I'm like, oh God, I'm just so worried and so nervous because it's just you never know. You know what I mean? It's just you never know.
Some person is trying to argue that not doing glass is going to hurt my bookings. I was like, no, because you don't book me to see me in glass. You book me to see me. I don't need glass to have a good match. And they were trying to argue with me and say people deathmatch fans want to see glass. I said, well, that's great. Tell the pro wrestling fans where I'm at and have them come watch me because I don't care. I don't think I hate deathmatch fans. I don't. I love all these people that supported me. But like I love the art of the deathmatch, and glass is not a deathmatch. I didn't. You don't pay to see barbed wire. You pay to see Sabu in whatever match he's in, whether it is a regular match, a death match, chairs match with RVD. It doesn't matter. You pay to see that person. You pay to see RVD. You pay to see Kaz. You pay to see KG Muto. You pay to see Terry Funk. You don't pay just to see the weapons. The weapons are the icing on the cake. You want to pay.
Right. Yeah, it's an aspect, and it's a tool that you use for the, like you said, for the.
And I'm really honest. I see things of AEW wanting to lean more into the crazier aspects of pro wrestling, and I'm looking at. I was like, how many of these people do you see basically being crazy? I mean, other than like the Mark Briscoes of the world, God bless him. That is just the bleeding he did during that match with Ricochet was wild. But I'm like, how many of these younger guys do you actually see wanting to go crazy and do stuff that's going to get people talking, shock people? Not many. I can say this: I'm one of the few people that understand camera. I understand promos. I understand all these aspects of being a pro wrestler. But I'm also the crazy deathmatch lover guy. I mean, look at me. I'm literally littered with like crazy anime scars that are real. I got paid to get these. I earned these.
Man, no, I look forward to seeing what's next for you, man. I think a lot of people do, and I mean, MLW is just the start. I mean, that's where a lot of people got to get their first experience and their first eyes on you, and I think it was good. I think it was a good time, and I think, like you said, man, there's a lot of opportunities out there for you now, man.
Someone told me they said whether you realize it or not, a lot of people watch MLW just so that when the time comes, they can take the talent. So
Yeah.
hopefully someone is watching, and hopefully someone sees that I can bring something to the table.
Somebody's always watching. People are always watching, man. So I think you bring a lot to the table, and I know a lot of our followers do as well because people were pretty excited when I told people we were doing this interview. So I mean, yeah, I mean, you touched on a little bit. You started in 2018. Was IWA Mid South your first? You mentioned what was your first
From the
match?
same from the same place that Cole Radger came from, New Wave Pro in Terre Haute.
Okay.
Yeah, small little school. That was my first match. I had a couple smaller first time matches, and then I guess my first bigger match, even though it's not really big, because I did Mid South.
Because that was the first one that was on Cage Match, I think. When I looked back
that
recently, I was
was
like,
the scramble match thing,
Mhm.
where I didn't know what I was doing. I was just, you're kind of thrown into the foray. You're being told to figure it out. But yeah, that's the first one that I give. Uh, like it was on a place where people know the format, even though nobody watches IWA Mid South. People know the name IWA Mid South.
yeah,
I was like 10 matches in, so I was still. Maybe it was like 4 or 5. It was February of 2018, so I was like 4 or 5 matches. So I still don't know what the fuck I was doing.
oh man, that's great. No, I mean, dude, that's like you said, 7 years, and you've done a lot, man. You've done more in 7 years than a lot of people do their whole fucking life, or like however long their career stretches.
I know now that like I've done all the fun indie stuff I want to do. I want to do things on a televised format that draws money and gets people invested. I want this to be a job full time. I want to. I've done the starving artist shtick. I've bled for my money. I want to turn that into a regular income where I can focus on it. And just my job is focus on my job for whatever company that may be. I've got two. It's funny too about the Deathmatch aspect. I've had so many people, people like my mentors. I told them that's what I wanted to do, and they were like, "Good, you don't need this shit. You don't."
Yeah,
And like right now, I have the big fan so I'm gonna ride out doing my deal with that. I'm gonna show how I want Deathmatch wrestling to be if it is done, without glass. But the fact that all my mentors, I told them I just wanted this wrestle. They said, "Good, because you're the guy that could be on TV." And I have all their hopes and dreams for me, as well as my own hopes and dreams for myself to carry. I want to make them proud and make it there too.
hey man, I think you're doing a great job of it. I think you have already done that. I think you've already made all your mentors and people that have been there and trained you along the way. And speaking of training, what you were trained by was it John Wayne Murdoch, Reed Bentley, and there's a third one, right?
So funny story. So I was trained at New Wave Pro, a guy named Blake Reed. So small town
Blake Reed.
guy. Yeah, he's the guy that really instilled a wide love for wrestling. He's the guy that introduced me to Joe versus Necro, that kind of stuff. But then I started training cat wrestling with Jay Grooms, who is from. He's
More run-ins by my pets, man. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. He's from the Ohio, Kentucky area. But Sean Ross Sapp, actually, they both trained together in shoot fighting. So
Yeah.
that's how I became kind of friends with Sean. So those two were kind of like my original trainers, and then I fell into John Wayne, Murdoch, and Reed Bentley, and they really started cultivating me. And that's kind of how I learned, because I was given mentors who it's like learn something from. So John Wayne, Reed Bentley, it would eventually become the entire Deathmatch elite. So it would be Alex Colon, Eric Brown, Schlack, all these guys, and then it became Ricky and Raven.
Man, it's like a hell of a fucking you collected some pretty good people to learn from, man. That's what.
Yeah, and the craziest one to me, because everyone thinks that we would meet each other, was the friendship that I established in 2023 with Necro, because we were doing Japan stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Necro and I just, when it comes to pro wrestling, we click. We like what we like, and he'll always give me little tidbits of advice. You know, like I have a whole plethora of people that will always give me little bits of information, or if I'll ask them. Another one is Simon Gotch. You know, Simon has been my friend since 2020. Everyone calls him my dad. We look the same. We kind of sound the same. It's pretty funny. But he really we talk every day, whether it's pro wrestling or we just send each other gifts and like memes and stuff like that. He's also helped cultivate my thinking of pro wrestling and presentation. Speedball's another one too. In reality, because Speedball's kind of a mentor to everybody. But in the past 2 years, I think my in-ring work has changed so much because of the work I've done with Speedball, or that's Speedball, you know, and I'll kind of think things through. And the person I am now is I'm nothing without all these people that are behind me, whether it's Speedball, whether it's Gosh, whether it's Necro or the Deathmatch Elite, John Wayne. I'm nothing without it. I was taught by the collective, not just by a single person.
Speedball, I think, is one of the most interesting people I have ever. Because I mean, my roommate was a wrestler, so I would travel with him and rock Killjoy on the weekends a lot. So I'm always in a lot of locker rooms, and I've been there when Speedball's been there before, and I've watched him put together a match, and it's the most interesting thing. I've never seen somebody like break down and understand, like, and just work a wrestling match and think things through the way he does. It was the most amazing thing to see, to what, to where he, like, I mean, he was using percentages and like had numbers for things, and it was just like it's just insane the way his mind works, and he's just got a mind like none other. So
I was saying, say that
another one.
My brain doesn't work like that, but in terms of like looking at pro wrestling and breaking it down in terms of that, I would say in my own way, because of I understand the process now of doing that. Whether it's like where we're at in the match, what percentage, like how much damage a move should be doing, that kind of thing.
And that's kind of the stuff that he's all about too. Where I was watching him talk, where he's like, "Oh no, if you did this, like I would have to." It was very so much thought going into everything. You know what I mean? I don't think a lot of people do that when they're like, you know,
no, it's something you can be introduced to. You know, it's a lot of the lessons you learn in life and in pro wrestling you can by doing it or by failing. And one aspect that I think is missing in pro wrestling nowadays is working a match, but then all of a sudden developing an injury, not because of a move, but because of a movement going on, and having that be a focal point of the match. And that's something that I like doing here. You can't do it all the time, but like in a bigger match, it's pretty important. Like in my title match for the BJP title, uh, I went to go do a figure four, and I was pushed off. So, and normally I'd go and do it like a Pele to someone who's sitting, right? But as I went to the Pele, my back muscle like spasms, and so I missed the kick entirely. And what do? I grab my back, which it's so funny because I I planned for that to be part of the match, but it happened in real life as it was happening. So in reality, I was like, ow, 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 shit, ow.
It's like faking school with being sick, and you go home and actually get fucking sick. You know,
it's also like I usually call it the sabuism, if you will, like a planned fuck up, if you will, a planned injury.
That always cracked me up that he would work those into matches, and he would laugh at people. He'd be like, "Yeah, we got him. They think we fucked up," and it's like, I just love that.
Some people said, "Oh, he missed. Oh my God, is AKIRA's back? Okay." And I was like, "Oh shit, we got him." You know, it's like I really got them with these little things. But people don't think about it. They think it's. I'm viewing pro wrestling more how like the director planned the movie, which it kind of is, but it's like a short film. But a lot of people watch uh, dumb little movies, like I like dumb shit.
Yeah.
But if you put like a pro wrestler in front of like The Godfather and say, watch this, and we're going to talk about it afterwards, they would hate it probably.
Yeah.
Even though The Godfather is one of the best cinematic and pieces of art that I've ever seen. I just got to watch it here in Japan because they were showing it early, and so I got to see the 4K version in theater. And,
wow!
And that was a whole different experience because of the surround sound, The sound is cleaned up. So you catch all these little things that I never even noticed because I'm normally watching it like on a TV or I'm watching it
Yeah.
headphones. And you look at the nuance and all the little, every character is doing something for a reason in those movies. And I'm like, pro wrestling should kind of be the same way. Like there should be if there's chaos, there should be chaos for a reason. You do a move, there should be that move should be done for a reason. A lot of people just do things to do things, but even then, like there's sometimes doing things just to do things serves the purpose of the match. But I see a lot of times that people just do stuff in a match to do something, and it has rhyme or reason, and then they get over it.
Yeah. No, the crowd's gonna pop, dude. Don't worry about it. Yeah, but why?
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. They're gonna love it. Don't worry about it. All right.
And then they don't, and then they don't, and I
And then they don't. Oh shit! I fucking told it. I knew it. I mean,
how many times I've asked that question, and I go, "Why are you doing that?" And they go, "Because it's gonna be great," and then it doesn't get over, and I'm just like, there was one time I beat someone in a match. I was surprised I entered. I went out and beat this dude's ass. Beat him 1, 2, 3. Okay, cool. And he's like, yeah, but after that, I'm gonna do the Undertaker style. I'm gonna sit up. And I was like, why the fuck would you do that? And they're like, oh, because it shows them I'm still alive. They're gonna pop them. And this is a big show too. So I said, you know what? Fuck it. You do whatever. I rolled out. He did the Undertaker sit up. Nobody reacted. And then I was told, hey, go beat his ass some more. Okay, I went and beat his ass.
all right, yeah, fuck, you gotta, yeah, no, that's great. Yeah,
A lot of people just do. I realize a lot of people do things just to do things because they think it's interesting. They don't have the forethought or the clarity to actually think, does this make sense? Does this work? Like, I know I'm 7 years in, so I'm still, in terms of many people, like Sammy, Malone, all the people, they say you're a baby, which
yeah,
I am. But I'm a baby who's seen and done work with a lot of people.
a seasoned baby.
Yeah, and people always joke that, like, oh, you always act like you're older than everyone else. I was like, guys, y'all are like 24. I'm 31. I'm older than you. So I just, sometimes people just say and do shit that I just don't understand. I just kind of go, okay, whatever, no big deal. Let people do what they want to do.
I see it every weekend, man. Like I said, I ride the roads with Rob and Mike every weekend. I'm always just like, there's at least one of those guys every show, and you're just like, all right, man.
A lot of people that just, the thing that I'm so tired of are guys that come into the locker room and they're just the loudest. They're not funny. They think they're funny. They talk a lot of shit about their match, and I'm just like, okay, you're not funny. Two, just from how you talk, I'm 99% sure your match is gonna suck. And normally, I'm right. But then there's that 1% of people who are loud and obnoxious, and the matches are really good. But again, it's the 1%. It's the 1%.
Yeah, there's rarities, but no, I agree, dude. As soon as you said that, I like 3 or 4 names came to mind. I'm like, I know exactly those people, like just like that. So no, the joys of fucking.
These are the people that get mad at people like me because I'm very relaxed. I don't want to go party and do shit like that. And they say, oh, you take pro wrestling too seriously. I'm like, I'd rather take it too seriously than think of it as a fucking joke.
Yeah. Hey man, like you said, you're trying to make a career and a living out of this. So at some point you have to fucking take it seriously and treat it serious, because if it's what you're trying to do for your living and make a life out of it, you kind of gotta fucking be serious.
The one thing I couldn't stand when I was in Indiana was a lot of people there would say, I just want to do good rat shit with my friends, and I would hate that saying, especially if they were like 23, 24-year-olds saying it. And I'm like, cool, I want to make money. And they just looked at me like I was a crazy person. I was like, no, I don't want to wrestle my friends. If my friends are great, cool. Like, then I'll have fun and I'll learn something by wrestling. But I was like, I'm here to get better and make money. I'm not here to fuck around with my friends, just to fuck around. If you're gonna do that, go do it in your backyard, please.
Yeah, and look at you now, though. I mean, shit, man. How many of them have been to Mexico, Japan, all these other countries that you've done? So, fuck it. It's working, man. Stick with it. I think there's good things coming for you, man. And I've taken up an hour of your day So why don't you? I know that you got a match this Sunday, the 22nd.
Mhm.
Tell everybody a little bit about that. What you got coming up?
So it is because Pondo had to go back to the United States. I am now with Dale Patrick's challenging for it's the vacant titles, tag titles for Big Japan Pro Wrestling in a concrete death match against Ryuji Ito and Kankuro Hoshino. And then I will be on tour the rest of next week in Sapporo and Hokkaido, and that'll be like God. It'd be the most I've done with flight tubes in months. But like it's my last spring of like I think it's gonna be my last spring of like flight tube death matches, like probably forever. I don't I I don't see myself really doing them a whole bunch heavily anymore, even in Japan. Uh, so I'll do that tour, and then I'll come back to like first, but second, I'll start packing, and then I have a tattoo appointments on July 3rd and 4th. Something I've never done before, but I found.
You have no tattoos?
I got this one after I
Okay.
had a little bit of a crash out earlier this year, and I've kind of affirmed some things I wanted to believe in myself. So I'm glad I had to crash out when I got this one done. Someone paid for it.
Tattoo
But,
ink therapy is a thing, man. I usually get tattoos when I'm going through some shit. So no.
Well, for me, it's I always wanted to get a tattoo, but I wanted it to mean something, and I would always discuss it with someone who was significant in my life. Like I don't want to get something until it calls to me, and I want to get. I'm getting two done. One is gonna be right here under the base of the ear, like it's gonna be the Conjure for Samurai Rapid Crown, because this is my run in Big Japan.
Right.
And so I'll remember that I'm the Deathmatch favorite. And the other one is going to be arm piece right here. Now my arms are actually bigger too, so it actually looks more impressive. But it's going to be a Hanya with a snake coming out of it, and that entire. I didn't know I wanted it, so I went to the tattoo place and we were talking about this one, and I saw this giant piece up on the wall, which is normally for a back tattoo.
Yeah.
But I saw it, and it struck a chord with me, and I don't know why it did, but I just said, "Hey, can you do that?" And they're like, "Yeah, what would you want?" I said, "I was like, want it right here, and I'd want it done traditional style." So I think they're gonna do like the actual bone, like Japanese style. Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
Fuck, dude, that's awesome.
So
that's awesome. That's a dream of mine to get something like that done eventually. Because I've got a lot. I got a lot of stupid, shitty tattoos all over my fucking self, dude. Like, I was the same way. Like, I wanted to mean something, and then, dude, at one point, I'm just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna get random bullshit. So,
I just like for me, I just can't do random bullshit because I know it's gonna be said. Like the random bullshit I did do was the scars that I have on.
Yeah.
But I'm getting that one done right here, and then I looked up. I was like, okay, what is the meaning of that particular tattoo? And the whole point of the Hanya and the snake is it's basically like someone who's come through a great tribulation of change and turmoil, and is coming out stronger on the other side. And there's a couple of things. I just looked at it and I was like, and especially where I was at at this point in my life months ago, I looked at it and I was like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
There's a reason why I call it. So that's gonna get that. I'm gonna get this one done. Someone's paying for this one. This is the one I'm paying for with some merchandise money that I paid.
That's awesome.
And it's also getting done in the same tattoo color where so there's Jin Kasai has like the lion right here on his arm.
Yeah.
It's the same tattoo color that he went to get that done.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
dude, I can't wait to see it. You have to show me when you get it done. Awesome.
It's a nice little swan song thing. My stay in Japan, and another people that are probably going to be asking, why am I done with death matches after I dropped the belt? And I was talking to some people, and to me, like, because some people are like, what about the freedom stuff? I said, this isn't a knock on freedom. I said, for me, I really don't care because I won the original King of the Deathmatch tournament. Won the Cactus Jack. Another foreigners won since then, back in the day. And I won the original Deathmatch title. My first and last Deathmatch title is probably going to be was like, you know what, I have nothing else to say, nothing else to prove. You know, I don't. There's no better way to end it than that. I reached the top of the mountain in terms of the deathmatch community, and I want to go fight for it.
Shit, love it, man. That's awesome. Well, man, I like it. I love it. I think everything. I think you got good stuff coming for you, man. Enjoy the little bit of Japan you got left, and when you get back to the States, man, maybe we'll be able to hang a little bit. I'll be around. So, man,
I'm looking for a place right now. So we're me, my friend Chris LaRock, and someone else. We're looking for a place. So.
Nice. Well, I'm sure we'll stay in touch. But man, I appreciate you doing this for me. Again, enjoy the rest of your week, man, and kill it this weekend, brother. Love you, man. I tell everybody one more time where they can find you, social media. Plug your stuff, man. Get all that in before we wrap it up.
Social media is at the AKIRA Way on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Facebook. I do have an OnlyFans. It's crazy, but it's onlyfans.com/Death Samurai. Patreon is patreon.com/Sacco Samurai. And I have a whole bunch of stuff that's saved on my phone. So when I get back to America, I can actually I have a whole bunch of blogs and stuff I can upload. So this would be regular content. It's just been really hard because I'm in Japan. Wi-Fi here is spotty. I just had all my merchandise on deathsamurai.com. So I have a whole summer drop that came out last year that I'm getting stuff for advertising. I also had a merch drop with Justin Wang. So we just dropped that, and pieces are coming in with really good quality. So check those out while you can. I'm also sponsored through Hitman Sports Breaks. So any of your people that are into sports cards, Magic, Pokemon, Mana, One Piece, all the card games, they're the place to get them, because you can also go to their website, hitmansportsbreak.com, and you can use the code AKIRA10 to get 10% off on all orders from now on. It's a continuous code that does not end. It's not a one and done. And with the new Final Fantasy cards out, I know people want to save money. 10% on how expensive those packs are. 10% for that.
It can add up. Yeah. No, man, that's awesome. We actually on the Thursday podcast I do with Corey, my guy Corey Hayes. I actually open some packs of cards every week. So no, you're talking to the right audience here. So hopefully we can send a little love your way, and I'll plug it too when I open some cards on. I'll be like, hey, I'll plug your stuff there for you too. So man,
thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Bro. Hey, that's what friends do, man. That's part of the game, man. That's what friends do.
It helps me get paid.
Hey, no, I'm all about helping people make money if I can. So, brother, it's been a pleasure. I love talking to you. Like I said, man, kill it this week, and hopefully I'll see you soon in the States, man. That's about it, man. Peace. Appreciate it. And I'm going to wrap this thing up, and then we'll chat a little bit off air again. So, man, thanks, everybody, for checking out this interview. Like I said, the Patreon link's down there at the bottom, running across. I just remembered to click it an hour and 10 minutes into this interview. So, my bad on that, everybody. But, yeah. Follow us, subscribe to the Patreon. You can get this interview there first. It'll be up on the YouTube later. But, man, again, appreciate it, guys. Thanks for watching this, and we'll see you guys.